These retro gaming consoles are all pretty similar, but there is one thing about this one that I really like over the other ones, and that is being able to go into the settings and change the visuals without having to relaunch the games that you are inside of. If you're playing PS1, for an example, you can play Crash Bandicoot, go into the settings, adjust it to HD, go back to the game, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you can go back to the settings and choose scan lines, go back to the game, see if you like it. Again, go back to the settings, use fast, and then go back to the game and see if you like it. I think you get what I'm trying to say here. You can adjust the visuals inside of these games in real time, which is really nice because not all of these things do that for you. Now, there is one thing about this that I do not like, and that is when you plug it into a TV, it is going to automatically stretch. So you're going to have to go into your TV settings and actually enable the 4:9 aspect ratio on your TV in order to get it normal, unless you like that stretched image. I personally do not like that. Now, you can install RetroArch and you can download and install the SNES 9. There's a SNES 9X emulator where it turns these games into 16:9. It literally takes every single Super Nintendo game and it adds like little borders on the sides of these games. I'm not talking about those like little, like the Super Nintendo Mini or the Sega Genesis Mini. I'm not talking about how it has like those borders and then the game is actually running in 4:9. I'm talking like it's full-blown 16:9. It's like an actual modern remake. Now, the enemies are still going to be popping up in the 4:9 aspect ratio, and there are some games that don't really function properly with that. But anyways, that's besides the point. There's one other thing that I really quickly want to mention before we get into the review of this little device, and that is that these are all plug and play. When you get these, they come with thousands and thousands of games. All you do is take it out of the box, connect your controller to it, depending on if it's a Bluetooth device or if it's one that comes with a wired controller. If it comes with a wired controller, to be honest, some of these are on the lower end side of things. So there are certain ones where you need to, actually go into the settings and adjust some of them, it's called look ahead. Other ones call it latency reduction. For the most part, when you go into the settings, it's going to be common sense what it is that you're actually looking for, because some of these, the Bluetooth connection on them that come with Bluetooth controllers isn't the best. So there is going to be a little bit of a delay between when you push the button and when your character actually jumps on screen. So what you do when that happens is you go into the actual settings of these little consoles and you either adjust the look ahead to a certain amount of milliseconds or seconds, whatever removes that delay from the button to when what you're seeing on screen, or the latency reduction. It is going to be one of those. If it's something else, then again, it's probably just going to be common sense. Now, when the people that are always asking, can I add more games to this? Yes, you're just going to have to go to Google and search up add more games to whatever. You guys know why I'm saying it that way. So what happens is these come with SD cards or a micro SD card, and some of them have internet. You can literally connect these to the internet and you can use the browser on the actual console itself, and you can do everything that way. But you're going to have to boot into the Android option or Linux option. For the most part, it's either going to be Linux or Android. It's going to be one of those between those. The one that I'm using has Android. I find the sweet spot with these things to be right around 40,000 games. And anything after that, it's just going to be like duplicate heaven. And again, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because there are certain games like Aladdin, The Lion King, Batman. There's quite a few games. The Super Nintendo is my favorite console of all time. That's the one that I am most familiar with. It is the one that I grew up with. It is the one that I've played the most amount of games with. And it is the one that I've played a lot of. So because of that, I always use that one as an example because it is the one that I am most knowledgeable about. So when I say that not all of these games are the same, like Lion King, Aladdin, Batman, there can be an Aladdin in America and then an Aladdin in Europe, and they're two totally different games. There can be a Batman in America and then a Batman over in Japan, and they're two totally different games. Now, as far as the Japanese version of the games on this thing, like the Super Famicom, not all of these have patches. So you are going to need to figure out how to patch these little, you're going to have to figure out how to patch the ROMs. I do have videos on how to do that if that is something that you want to do, or you can just go about, learning how to read Japanese letters. It doesn't, if you really want to do that, you can do that, but you can patch these ROMs on your own. You're just going to have to connect to the internet. Again, at this point, most of these have Bluetooth. Most of these have a way for you to connect to your Wi-Fi. Most of these have some option in order for you to, get access to the internet and a browser on them. And if they don't, they all have storage devices in them. And if they don't have storage devices in them, they are, you plug them into your computer and you can browse through the files on them. So there's always going to be a way to either remove games or add games and install new images. Now, when I say new images, quote unquote, these images, I'm pretty sure I might have already explained this to you, but they're just visuals. That's really the difference between these little consoles. If you like a blue theme, you can go to, I use Arcade Punks. That's what I like to use to grab new images for these and just change up the visuals. I don't really need to do that anymore because I've had so many of these and I've gotten so many of them just because I like them. They make great gifts, especially for like, if like a friend or family member's like age, like when they were born, and they like what consoles they grew up with, what types of games they like. These are definitely aimed more so towards an older audience because they're all older games. Am I saying that kids will not enjoy these? Absolutely not. To be honest, kids will probably enjoy them even more because the parent that grew up with these games is going to want to connect with their kid and play these games with their kid, and just it's going to be fun. It's going to be more fun because you're going to have that connection between you guys where you're playing Super Mario World as Mario and they're playing Super Mario World as Luigi or Prince Peach or whatever her name is, etc. So you can do that with modern games as well, but I think that the nostalgia factor for older people, this includes myself, that's a big factor on why I still play games. That's a big reason that I like video games nowadays. It's why like 90% of the stuff that I'm playing is all indie titles. It's all like these retro themed video games because it has that nostalgia factor for me. And because of that, I enjoy playing them, and it's fun for me, man. I like being able to, hop in Battletoads as an example, and the first thing that pops up to me is like memories at my babysitter's, and like, my best friend Josh growing up, like he was my babysitter's son. And it was just like, for me, man, it's like having those memories just like instantly pop up in my mind that were not there to begin with, just by simply launching a title brings back those memories. And then because those memories come into play, I start thinking about other memories during that time period. And then it's like this cycle and snowball effect where I start out with this little snowball, and then by the time I'm on the third or fourth level, I have this like massive snowball at the bottom of the hill. And I'm all happy and excited, and I have all these like super nostalgic memories, and then I hop into a different game. And because these things have thousands and thousands and thousands of games, and because back in my day, quote unquote, I am getting older now, so quote unquote, back in my day, we had to go to the movie stores and go rent video games. We didn't have the internet where we could just hop on our little console and download a game, try a demo for it, do a trial for it, instantly have access to thousands and thousands of games. So like I was able to go to the movie theater, rent a game, come home, play it for a couple of nights, bring it back to the movie theater, swap it out for a new one. You know what I mean? So like at the end of the year, I like already played like 100 games because it's just cool. It's pretty neat to see how things have like gone from like on the shelf to on the screen, because it's thumbnails are basically what the video game box art was when I was a kid. You're browsing through a store and you have all these like boxes on the shelf, and like now you're just browsing through a bunch of videos on a screen, and it's literally the same thing, but it's like, and this is right now is like, this is why I like the older stuff, man, is because like right now, just as I'm making this video, I'm getting all happy and excited because I have these memories of going to the stores with my friends, and like there was like a back wall with all the super like adult games like Mortal Kombat, and like all the all the mature games were like the back shelf, and like we'd have to wait for my mom to like go search for a movie for her to watch as me and my friends were like browsing like the Joe and Mac and Congo Caper and Super Mario World and The Legend of Zelda and all these like super like kiddish like platformer type games. And then as soon as my mom would go and like try to grab a movie, like we'd like run back to the back of the aisle and like look at the Mortal Kombat and like talk about how cool these games were, and we'd try to sneak one of those games without my mom noticing, without the so like this is what I'm talking about. Like these like moments like come into play. So I'm getting really off topic here, but either way, this thing is awesome. I love these little devices, man. They are really fun, and I think that anybody that's over the age of 20 should really try these. And I think that anybody that has kids into games should absolutely, undoubtedly get one of these as a gift. I promise you that they're going to have fun with these. It doesn't matter. Like if they like Fortnite, I promise you that this is going to be way better. It's like, kids, imagine Netflix without that subscription. That's what these are for gamers. If you like video games, you know what I mean? And they're all, the cool thing that my favorite thing about the older titles, man, is that like nowadays you have to devote like hundreds of hours in games. Unless you get something like Starfield, which is very rare, or Ark Survival, again, which is very rare, where they have these, like, you can go into the prompt thing and you can like enable the cheats and stuff where you get, obviously in single player, and you can get everything. Like you can, you know, have all the items there to build your house, or in Starfield you can have all of the stuff in order to fly your ship across the galaxy and explore planets without having to spend hundreds of hours getting those parts in order to have your ship actually function. You know what I mean? And I think that most of you can agree with that and understand that. I understand why gaming companies do this, because, you know, people want the game to be worth it. They want they want it to be valuable to them, and they want to enjoy what it is that they just barely got. So I get it. But not all of us have that kind of time. You know, some of us just want to hop into a level, beat it, and be done in 5 minutes. And these things allow you to do that, because the older titles, unless it's like some sort of an RPG, which even then you still have like save things. The one that I have has automatic saves. I always manually do it, just because it brings peace to my mind. But for the most part, these all have automatic saves, and like your saves will all be in your last played section. I'm pretty sure this one has 10. The limit is like 10 last played, and they do that because of storage the storage. You know, you can only have so many saves before you run out of storage, and you got to keep in mind these things have thousands of games on them. So overall, man, I don't care what these are. I really wanted to make this like helpful and valuable to people that are actually looking into these. None of them are really going to cause any problems for you, and the ones that do have problems or do have, you know, that delay with the controller, it's not the device, it's the Bluetooth connection inside of them. You know, it's like, let's use TVs as an example. Like if you have your TV and your remote, because this is very common, even the TVs that I have right now, like I have a Hisense TV out in my living room, and I also have a Roku TV. I forget. I have a Hisense Google TV in my room, and then a Hisense Roku TV in my bedroom. And like, if I don't like pick my arm up and like point my remote at the TV, there's always some sort of like connection interference between the remote and the TV if there's like anything like metal near the connector thing. So just like, and even my computer, man, like my mouse, like I understand there are some like higher end like mice and keyboard, Bluetooth mice and keyboards that come with their own dongle, but I have really high end computer parts, like, and I've built hundreds of computers at this point, and all of the default Bluetooth things on these things, none of them work good with these Bluetooth mice and Bluetooth keyboards. The only Bluetooth mice and Bluetooth keyboards that actually function, and I personally would recommend to people, are the ones that come with their own dongle. And I don't understand. So anyway, the reason I'm saying that is because none of these are gonna like let you down. They're all gonna perform very, very, very similar. And even the ones that are a bit older and, you know, have out of date hardware, you can still go into that the look ahead option in the settings of these little consoles, or the latency reduction. Again, it's going to be one of those, or it could be worded, it's going to be pretty obvious what it is. It might be worded differently, but it's going to be adjust delay, or you know what I mean. It's gonna say something that's just obvious, where it's going to fix the delay when you're playing these games. So most of them are all running RetroArch. So because of that, you're able to go into the settings and adjust that. So, you know, just keep that in mind. You know, like, I wanted this to be helpful so that people don't have to browse, because there's a lot of them. There's so many of these things. So yeah, man, I hope that you guys all enjoyed this, and the links to everything will be down in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.